Good morning. How are we all this morning? Let's just check that everything is doing what it should. Yes, excellent. Hurrah, hurrah. So, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. Let me just check that I am in a good position. Yes, I am. So that's good. So, horrible day this morning. Yick. Really, yick. But it's supposed to get better later in the week with luck and a fair breeze and all that. Weather forecast for the remainder of the week, piddling with rain today. And then we've got kind of overcast and chilly. Now, when I say chilly, I don't mean cold like in northern states in America and Canada. I mean chilly for the UK, which is basically cold and damp. So, yeah. Hello, Leslie. So, yes, we've got cold and damp coming. So that'll be fun. I hate the damp. I'm not good with wet weather, as in damp. So I can take dry heat, dry cold, not a problem. Put me anywhere where there's any form of humidity, and it's awful. So, middle of the Sahara Desert, dry heat, not a problem. Put me in a steamy city centre, half the temperature, and I will be really uncomfortable. I have a runny eye. I had a notification literally just before I was going live to say that, hello Nora, to say that my husband has an Amazon delivery due and we haven't opened the gates because we're not expecting anything today until later on. So we hadn't opened the gates, so I just ran to do that. And now my eyes are streaming. They were fine before. Morning, Claire. So we've had to do the Q-tip up the nose this morning because we've got my husband's in a recorder group and we're hosting the rehearsal this evening. So obviously, good idea to make sure we're not infectious as far as, there's always going to be a margin of error, but we have no symptoms and we got a negative lateral flow. So that's good. Hello, it's Lisa. Lisa Ospause is Lisa. I'm going to have to write these down. I think so. You're warming up today. You may get up to the 40s. Whoa! Oh, dear. Okay. That's warm. It's been about 5 to 15. Good heavens. That's Fahrenheit, I'm guessing. I'm guessing that's Fahrenheit. In which case that's still quite chilly because 60 degrees is roughly Fahrenheit is roughly 16 centigrade. It's about as near as I can get, and minus 40 is minus 40. That I know. So I'm going to very quickly do my usual housekeeping. So today is morning Lorna, dull old day in Chester. Right, so I'm going to, if I ignore you in the next few minutes, it's because I'm doing my usual housekeeping. So today is Tuesday, the 11th of January. It is just gone 11 o'clock in the UK. And if you are watching live, you should see a live button in the top right-hand corner. It's red and says live. If you don't see that, then it's probably the repeat that you're watching. In which case, if you wish to comment, that would be lovely, and I will reply to you with typing. If you're here live and you've got the red live button in the top right hand corner, if you've logged on to YouTube, you can comment as we go and I will interact with you. If you don't already subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can do so by clicking the button in the top bottom left right hand corner. This is my right hand pointing left. So you can do that in the bottom right hand corner. Do remember that if you're enjoying what you're doing, to like and share. I am a UK-based Stampin' Up demonstrator working across the UK, France, Germany, Austria and the Netherlands, and I have team across the UK and into Europe. Celebration is a great time to join, and it is Celebration until the end of February. If you join my team between now and the end of February, you will get, for £99 or €129, £130 of product or €175 of product of your own choice, plus 2 free stamp sets from either the annual or the new mini catalogue. That can add an extra £80 to the value, depending on which ones you choose. And obviously we would love to welcome you. Right, okay, so that's the advertising bit over. January in Kansas can be hard. Yeah, sounds like it. Morning, Judith. Hello, Brenton from Oz. Yay! Wendy, no rain today yet. She's in Wales. Good morning, Margaret. Hello, Sharon from a hot New South Wales in Australia. I should imagine it is quite hot in New South Wales. It's horrid here. I think, what do they say the temperature is at the moment? Let me see if I can tell you what we have. I think it's about 5 degrees. 12 degrees with Margaret. Don't know where you are, Margaret. So it is currently, it's 9 degrees. Thick cloud and light winds and a 76% chance of rain. Guess what? We've got rain. And surprise, surprise, Leslie also has rain. Leslie, you're not that far from me from memory. So that's not a surprise. So this morning we are playing with Oceanfront. I saw some really, really stunning samples on Instagram from Michelle Taylor, who is in Australia. So Brenton, you may know her. Oceanfront is one of those stamp sets that I think people are a little bit confused by, because it's lots of what I would call splodges. But Michelle has done some really stunning samples, and I'm going to see if I can not replicate, but have a go at doing anything even remotely as good as hers. Thank you for liking and sharing, Lorna. 22 degrees, but it's 10 o'clock at night. Good Lord. Okay. I'd quite like 22 degrees in the middle of the day. I'll have to wait until probably never. Car was saying 10 degrees. Yes, not far from me. Yeah. We are in the Benson Bowl where we are, so it is normally a little bit chillier. Benson, for those of you who don't know the UK, is one of the areas of the country where they get the coldest temperature. And it's there's a bowl that we're in, surrounded by, to say hills is exaggerating. They're just slightly higher than anything else in Oxfordshire. And the air gets trapped in, and it either gets very cold or very hot. So it swings and roundabouts. You don't know her, but we'll be looking her up now. I say her samples are stunning. I'm gonna just keep my fingers crossed that I can go in even remotely close to what she's done. So I'm going to flip the camera down and get started. So let me find how to do that. That one. There we go. That looks not too bad. And snow? Very rarely do we get snow in the UK. Frost, yes. Snow, not so often. I think it's one of those things that confuses quite a lot of people who aren't from the UK or know that many people from the UK. We quite often get real travel issues in the snow. And people go, well, why? It's snow, it's winter. Because we have it so rarely, we don't have the infrastructure. And the same in the summer when it's really, really hot. Most places don't have air conditioning. A lot of new shopping centres will have air conditioning. Private houses, not so much. We do have some air conditioning in our bedroom, but that's because at our last house we used to really suffer from the heat. Where we are now, we're on the ground floor and it's not quite so hot. So we have air conditioning. But yeah, we just don't have the infrastructure for extremes of weather, because we don't get extremes. Well, we do get extremes of weather, but not sustained. Anyway, so I'm going to use some of the Simply Marvellous paper, which is one of the free celebration items. I know for those of you in Australia this may not be available, and I'm really sorry. I gather it's a question of getting the stock from China to South Pacific as opposed to getting it from North America to South Pacific. And I'm also going to be using special... Oh, I'm going to turn on an extra light. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be using special moments, which I think in Australia you do currently have. Because... Oh, they are in there. Oceanfront doesn't have sentiments. Although saying that, I am then going to add in some Let's Set Sail and On the Horizon. So maybe I won't use special moments because that might be overkill. But I quite like these trees, and Michelle has used these to great effect. I'm going to try to just use the Oceanfront as much as possible, but I do want to do some that aren't just ocean, which is using some of the suggestions that she has given. So I'm going to be trying, maybe not terribly successfully, I hasten to add, to use markers on photopolymer, and I say maybe not successfully. You've got Marvellous! Yay! Excellent. I say not very successfully because sometimes photopolymer and Stampin' Right markers don't go terribly well together. I'm going to need a bigger block for those. That will fit. So one of those and one of those. So I'm going to pop this one on there and this one on there. I don't particularly like using my E-block because it's a bit chunky, but it's fine. I don't know if I'm going to use that one, but we will keep it out just in case. I will definitely be using that one and that one. So yes, Stampin' Right markers don't always work terribly well on photopolymer. It's a thinner ink than our stamps, than our pads. So I think those are boulders. Don't know. They could be clouds, I suppose. I don't know about that using that one, but I will get that one out. So I've got all of them out except for one. Go figure. Right, I've got some white card that I'm going to be stamping on. I've also got some scrap paper. She says diving under her desk to get it, because I want to just make sure that using markers is going to work. So I'm going to start. I've got a piece of Flirty Flamingo card ready for a card base, and I've chosen colours that are in the paper. So on the back it tells you which colours you can use, and one of the choices of colour are the pinks, which is Blushing Bride and Flirty Flamingo, and I already had a Flirty Flamingo card base, so I'm using Flirty Flamingo, and this is going to be kind of sunset sunrise-ish. 22 degrees at 10:15 in the evening. Jenny, that is hot. Good morning, Helen from a very cold Michigan. Was looking at this set but wasn't sure how to use it. Good, well that's hopefully I'll help you, Leslie, and hello Jess. Right, so I'm going to start with the splodgy, the kind of long splodge, and I'm going to bring out Calypso Coral, Flirty Flamingo. I am going across colours, sorry. If you don't have blends, you can use a sponge dauber and ink. And I may end up resorting to those, but for the moment, actually, let's see if sorry, that's the Calypso Coral that I'm going to put away. I'm going to use Mango Melody and Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to start at the top with Mango Melody. I have prepped my stamps by rubbing over them with a good white eraser, because, and if you watch me for any length of time, you'll know I harp on about the fact that there is a finish that's sprayed on the mould to make sure that the mould releases the stamp. And sometimes you will find that there is some of that spray left on the stamp. It's on both photopolymer and the red rubber, but it seems to hit the red rubber, sorry, the photopolymer more. So do just bear that in mind. So I'm going Mango Melody, Flirty Flamingo, and Daffodil Delight. I'm not worrying too much about whether I get ink onto my tip, because you can just scribble it off. But I just want to try it on some scrap paper because, you know, it's me, I haven't prepped. Huff, and let's see what happens. Okay, so that actually is working quite well. I probably want to mix the colours more, but I've at least established that the blends are going to work on my stamps. So I can bring out a piece of card, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the top and the bottom again. I'm going to start with a clean stamp because I can't remember which is which now, and then I'll put the middle in, which will help blend it. And the answer to the next question that I know is probably coming is, this is one of our old, no longer available, half-size wood mount stamp cases. And unfortunately, they are no longer available. The ordinary stamp cases, so the narrow ones, and the fat ones, the wood mount cases, are available, but I think they're only available on the website. I don't think they're in the catalogue. But you should be able to find them if you look up stamp case on the website. But they are useful for storage. Do you have Stampin' Right? You have Stampin' markers, not blends. Correct, these are markers, not blends. So I'm trying to use the same colour family so that it's only one set. Yeah, you wouldn't want to use blends. All blends would actually do is stain your stamps. Now I'm going to very gently add a little bit of a smush over there, and I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper, oops, and a piece of linen thread apparently, just to make sure that I can scribble off any Flirty Flamingo that's gone on there, and I'll do the same with the Daffodil Delight. And then Huff. The thin ones are in the catalogue as well. Thank you, Leslie. Hello, Margaret. So we're using Oceanfront, Margaret. So let's stamp that down. I probably need a mat, which I will get. So any customers that are watching who ordered from me in December, the video on how to make up your card kits that you get for shopping with me and using the host code are available on my website, on my YouTube channel, and on my website. So you can have a look at those if you like. Right, so for this, this is going to be the C, and I'm going to pop that kind of here-ish. I will overlap a little bit. And so this is the straight line, obviously straight line against straight line. I'm going to bring in Pacific Point. I'm going to try and stick to, as much as I can for this one, to the Brights collection. I might have to stray into the neutrals. So I've got some Bermuda Bay and some Pacific Point. And actually I'm going to bring in Coastal Cabana as well. I'm going to start, no I'm not, I'm going to start with my Coastal Cabana. I'm going to work from the bottom up, because that way I will have the lighter colour going down first, and then I can add the darker colours on top. Now obviously Coastal Cabana and Bermuda Bay, perfect match, because they are basically this darker and lighter version of the same colour. So all should be good. And then I'm going to add the smallest amount of Pacific Point. Pacific Point is quite a dark colour, so you don't need a huge amount. And then I'm going to bring in my brush end of Morning Bee. Night Sharon, thank you for joining us. And yes, of course, I mean, this will be available forever and a day, and probably a bit longer than that. So I am just going into that Pacific Point with my Bermuda Bay, and again scribbling off. So good old Huff, And I'm going to go slightly over my yellow, my Daffodil Delight, and press. Now, you're not going to expect a absolutely clean stamp because we're using blends and because it's a sort of distinctive-ish. I don't think it actually claims to be distinctive. No. But it's that sort of finish. It's what I would call newsprint finish. So that's that. Now, this is going to be the bit that's going to be slightly difficult to do within the brights. That's the word I'm looking for. And actually, I don't want that. What I want is this one back again. I'm going to clean it off, and I'm not going to use the whole thing. So I'm just going to use the top or the bottom, depending on how you look at it. So I'm going to use it that way so that the two angles meet, and this is a straight lift, so the layout is a straight lift from Michelle. You keep saying you're using blends. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm using markers. I'm sorry if I keep saying blends. I do apologise. I mean markers. So yes, trying to use the brights markers is going to be tricky for this bit because I want this to be sort of sand-like. So I am going to have to sneak into the neutrals. Sorry. I'm wondering if I need Mossy Meadow almost. No, I'm going to try and do it. It's confusing for me, Jenny, as well. Clearly, that's why I keep saying the wrong thing. Right, I'm going to use Crumb Cake first, and in effect, draw my line. So that's where I'm going to call my base, or what I'm going to call my base. I'm going to bring that right the way up. And you can see I'm using the side of my marker. I'm going to make a concerted effort to use the word marker, not blend. So these are the markers that come in colour families. That is neutrals. This is part of the bright. So this is the Granny Apple Green, which I'm hoping by adding to Crumb Cake will mute it a bit. And I'm going to come back in with my Crumb Cake just to splodge that a bit. Ooh, that has picked up the green. Oh no. Crumb Cake actually is quite green. Huff. And stamp. And again, give it a bit of welly. And there we've got a kind of sand effect. Now I want to build up some pretty. And I am going to go into my neutrals again. Hello, Steffi. And I'm using soft suede marker for this. Now, it's better to go with the grain rather than across the grain, but sometimes you need to go across the grain to get the ink to kind of sit. This is what I would call across the grain. These are up and down. So I would call this across the grain. And this is with the grain. So again, huff. And then I want the little one. Yeah. And again, I'm going soft suede marker. And you can see I'm not using the tip, I'm using the edge. That way you're going to protect your tip. And I do like to always huff between putting it on and using it because it does dry quite quickly and sort of pool. That's the word I'm looking for. Right, so I'm going to very quickly clean everything up while I remember what I've used. Use that one and this one. For this I will take the take this out. There we go. Right, okay, so I've brought out my stitched rectangles. Love my stitched dies. So what I want to do is cut a proper size stitched rectangle. Now the rectangles come in different, let's have that the other way up, shall we? The rectangles come in different shapes, so you've got long and thin and short and fat. So obviously I'm going to use a short and fat, and what I want is one that's just a bit bigger than that. Perfect. So I need my big cut and emboss for this, and my plates. I might treat myself to some new plates, especially during celebration. Have a good appointment tomorrow, Jenny. Thank you for joining me. And hopefully everything goes well. Right, I think I'm going to add my sentiment down here. So I'm going to have this quite a way down. You can't see what I'm looking at. Let me bring that up. Right, so I want to put my sentiment at the bottom. Hopefully you are in camera now. Let me have a look. Yes. And I'm going in a very slight angle because it will cut, it will be happier at a slight angle. It won't be quite such a solid edge for it to go against. Thank you, Jenny. I do have room for my large cut and emboss on my desk, but not when I've got my lights up. It's quite snug, I think is the word we're looking for. Right, let's pop that down. Pop those there. Let's get rid of that. That's in the way. Right, so we have our die cut piece like that, and put that in the bin. Right, so let's get rid of blends, not blends, markers, and bring out my paper. So as I said earlier, we're going to use the Flirty Flamingo card that I already have pre-cut, plus a piece of the pink Simply Marvelous. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this to my what I would call my usual size. So 5 5/8 by 3 7/8. And I'm going to do my 3 7/8 cut first. And then cut this down to 5 5/8. And then I will explain why I've done it that way. Because what I want to do is I'm going to have, let's find which is the front. Right, so this is the front, it's very slightly longer. So I'm going to pop this on first, and then this I'm going to have all the way down the side, but with just a little bit showing there. Then I'm going to have this, so this is going to be coming up the top and off the bottom. Then I'm going to have this with my sentiment and some twine. Now Michelle put her sentiments onto separate pieces of card. I'm going to pop it onto my die cut piece. The paper is gorgeous. I didn't think I liked the paper when I first got it, and I so do. My desk and shelves need a spring clean out. I fear if I sneeze. Oh dear. Hello, Sally from Moreland in Georgia. Thank you. That's your kind of paper, Leslie. Ah, yes, because Jess and Leslie know each other quite well. Right, so I am going to grab some, actually I'm going to go linen thread. I was thinking I would go white twine, but I'm going to go linen thread because we've got this crumb cake, so I'm going to use that to tie it in. And also it's quite bright, so I think something to help tone it down would not be a bad idea. What I do need is a sentiment that will fit, obviously. Could almost do Just Breathe. So this is from the On the Horizon set. I might also bring out, come on. Oh, this is the one that I haven't, or one of the few ones in here that I haven't actually set up. So that's fine, we can do a quick setup as well. So setting up your clear mount stamps. I peel my backing off my sheet and then just get my stamp and pop it on. I have seen people pop the clear thing onto a block and then almost pick it up by stamping, but I'm not doing it that way. Oh, and I was going to bring out these as well, because I think we might benefit from some seagulls, preferably the right way up, but you know. Right, so I'm going to go. I need another block, which is fine. I'm going to keep with soft suede because we've already got soft suede going. This is block heavy, this stamp set. Well, my design, the design is block heavy. So I'm going to go soft suede marker. So very gently, because soft suede is actually darker than one might always think. I'm trying to avoid bringing out an actual pad. I might fail and have to, but for the moment I'm trying to stick to markers, because I sometimes think we forget that we've got markers. Now I'm blobbing because to rub across I'm going to lose some of the depth of the ink. I hope that makes sense. Right. Wish me luck. You pop yours onto the block, you find it easier. Yeah, it's horses for courses, Brenton. So there we go. We've got our subtle seagulls, or birds, whatever they are. They may not be seagulls. And then breathe. As I say, because we got quite a lot of bright colours, I mean obviously because it's the Brights collection, I want to just bring in a little bit of softness. So soft suede and linen thread hopefully will help with that. Bomb out so I can see what I'm doing. And it's almost straight. Good grief. There's a worry. Right, so I'm going to add some twine. Linen thread. I have a lot of linen thread. I'm going to, morning Barbara, I'm going to do a confession here. So about 2 years ago, I ordered some linen thread. Ooh, that's weird. Okay, we'll pop that behind. It's a solid bit. I ordered some linen thread, and I needed linen thread. I thought I'd ordered 1 reel. 10 reels, apparently. Actually, that's going to be too much. Let's go back. Let's go back and just do 2 rows of linen thread. I want my bow to be there. May or not even be a bow. It may be just a knot. So let's do that, and then that fat bit we can hide on another project. Right, so I'll start. I'm going to start with a knot, because once I've got my knot I can then decide whether I want it to be a bow. But I find it easier to tie a knot than a bow when I'm around something, because I can, you know, hold things in place with random fingers. It's a bit of a granny bow, granny knot, so it slips. It wasn't intentional that it would slip, but there we go. I think I'm going to go for a bow. famous last words, getting a bow on camera. And then we're going to do one more quick card. So you'll have a couple of ideas. If I can ever tie a bow, for crying out loud. Right, and then make it the size I want it, tighten up again, cut it, and then I can move it to where I want it. Don't want long bits. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Get rid of that stray bit, because it is actually linen, so it does have these sort of natural bits every now and again. Oh, I know what I was going to add and I can't remember where I put them, and that was some of the faux stones. Right, dimensionals. I've got a very well cut pack of dimensionals. Sometimes the machine goes slightly over eager. Goes over eager, that's bad English. But yes, sometimes it does cut through the paper as well, and this is one of those sets, but it's fine. So there we go. So Barbara, we're using the Oceanfront stamp set, and I borrowed a sentiment and some birds from the On the Horizon set. Why did I do that when I haven't stuck my paper down? Dear Lord. Right, let's try concentrating. So, quickly pop this down. Like that. Now I am going to fold my card now because I need to know where the top is, which I know sounds odd, but thank you, Barbara. Hello, Pam, I didn't see you there. I've got my my tape is coming off the side a bit, so I need to push it back in. There we go. Right, so this is going to be very slightly longer than the card front. Certainly from a metric point of view. So I'm going to come up just a little way before I put my piece for the bottom. And then I'm going to line this up on my grid paper. And I'm going to go for that line there. Oops. Let's get the glue inside the paper. So I'm going to come 1/2 inch in from the side. And then trim from the back. And I'm just pushing this blade against the card, like that. So the only bits left from the piece of paper, the 6x6 paper, are those two. So I think I'll allow myself to throw those away. Then we can pop this on. About there, like that. So that is our first card. I may come back in and add some faux pebbles when I can find them, but that's our first card. Just need to dab my nose a bit. Right, so that's card number 1. So we're going to have a bit of a change of scene, and we're going to go for card number 2. And we're going inland. We're going to use some Misty Moonlight. Ooh, now, while I remember. Thank you, Margaret. Looks like a beautiful painting. Thank you, Jess. So, while I remember, I'm going to bring in another of these stamps. I had a look at the inventory status report, and I know I've been harping on about this for a while, but I'm going to do it again. If you like, don't need that stamp. If you like the Sea glass, that's the one, the sea glass. I haven't quite got all the new names in. If you like the soon to be retiring in colours, so that is Magenta Madness, Bumblebee, Misty Moonlight, Just Jade and Cinnamon Cider. If you're in Europe, the inks are beginning to go low stock. One of them, the re-inkers, is on the unorderable. I nearly said back order, but we don't do back order anymore. So just be aware of that. Now is a perfect time to think about ordering your in colours because you can get free product. So I need another piece of white, and I'm going to go into the pastels. Yeah, and I just want to grab one thing. Not that one thing. That's one thing. Right, I've got, because I still have my circle punches, I'm never going to get rid of them, just saying. I've got a Post-it, and I'm going to punch a 3/4 inch circle. Actually, I'm going to fold that over. Post-it note's very thin, and some punches don't like it that thin. There we go. So I've now got 2 masks with sticky, because I want a white circle. So let me grab I want this one. I'm going to use this, only this stamp, which doesn't look clean. And I'm going to be using Balmy Blue and probably Pear Pizzazz. Actually I'm going to use Balmy Blue and Pool Party for my sky. So there's Pool Party, Balmy Blue. I am going to have to bring in some more of the neutrals for things like trees, but it'll be fine. Then I want, actually we'll go, can you get watercolour paper? Yes, you can. The only issue I would say, Lorna, is I would be using ink pads if I was going to be doing it on watercolour paper, because it's a thicker ink, and I'm not convinced, because the watercolour paper has a texture to the surface, I don't know how well it will stick onto the paper, as in transfer. Now, first thing I'm going to do is pop one of my circles down. And I'm going to go Balmy Blue and Pool Party. So this is my Balmy Blue. And Pool Party. Where did I put my scrap of paper? Never mind, I've got another very small scrap of paper. And this is just so that skies are very rarely all one colour. And then bring this in here, just to have a bit of a, so we're having a bit of a Pool Party stripe, if you like. Huff. So the watercolour paper is, oh, and I didn't use my mat. And that's where my scrap of paper was. The watercolour paper is called Fluid 100. Please don't try this at home. Try using your mat when you start. Your sky is currently all shades of grey. Yes, so is mine. Now, where's my, there it is. So I can now take that off, and I've got almost a sun. It's bled a little bit here, but not too bad. I'm quite happy with that. Now I need to clean that off with this, because I then want it on the, I want the green bit, the grass, Always want a bit of grass. So, other end. We are using Stampin' Right markers. Can't believe I was able to catch part of your live. Yay! Well done, Lisa. So this is Pear Pizzazz. And I'm mostly going to be using Pear Pizzazz, but I'm going to use a little bit of soft sea foam at the bottom. And I'm going into the Pear Pizzazz and then going back down again, and again scribble off just to get the ink off. Huff. Overlap your sky a little bit. Press well, bring up. That's the last thing I need that for. And this I am going to use just here, and I'm going to overlap where the soft sea foam is. And because I've introduced neutrals, I am going to bring in Mossy Meadow. And I'm going to have it that way. So I'm going to have it darkest at the top, actually. I'm going to start with a bit of Pear Pizzazz at the bottom. And I will remind you that I have prepped these stamps, because they're photopolymer, by rubbing over them with a white eraser. And then I'm going to come back in with my Pear Pizzazz and just blend that a bit, just, you know, scribble, but you can bring that colour down a bit and then scribble off, because we've got Mossy Meadow on our Pear Pizzazz, but it will come off if you're quick. Huff. And I want this at an angle like that. So we now have a bit of a hump, and I need my trees, which are here. Trees I'm going to do in Mossy Meadow again, because it's a nice dark colour and it's almost like they're a silhouette. Right, so I've not used this stamp before and it's pooling. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm actually going to get my scrap paper, stamp it, and that works just as well as prepping with an eraser. So let's try that again. So I did say earlier that they use a release spray on the on both stamps, but it generally is the photopolymer that is the issue. Now I'm also doing the bouncing, but yeah, sometimes it's on the yellow, on the red rubber as well. If you bounce, you're going to get some nice mottled tones. What you can do, and again you need to clean off afterwards, a hill, a berm, a hump. All of these are fine. Oh, thank you, Leslie. Yes, thumbs up are always appreciated. So you can do a little bit of coming in with your lighter green and again scribble off. So that's my Pear Pizzazz. That will give you a bit more colour. Huff, line up with sort of where your horizon is. And that gives you your trees. Then I want some of these. And again, this is taken from Michelle's sample. I highly recommend you go and have a look at her samples. She's tailor-made design. She's Michelle Taylor, and she is in Australia. So we'll have one there to cover up the kind of gap that we've got there. And then, and again, I'm using the side of my markers, not the tip. And that one there. Now, for this one, I am actually going to cut this manually rather than with a die, purely for speed. But I am going to add some seagulls, but I don't want all of the gulls. I mean, they're gulls, birds, whatever they are. So, clean that off. Make sure it's dry. And which ones do I fancy? I'm going to go for these 3 here. And because I've already got soft suede out, well, it's one of the neutrals, I'm going to go soft suede again. Now you could use your ink pad. If you use your ink pad, it's going to be a lot darker than using your blend markers, not blends, they're markers. And just have those. Apart from anything else, it's going to help cover up some of that circle, that halo that has appeared. Okay, so let's get rid of the pad. And I need my guillotine. So I'm just going to use my little guillotine, and I'm going to do a fairly arbitrary set of cuts. Three and a quarter sounds like a nice measurement, so I'll do 3 1/4. Oh. I have a thing that pops up with news every now and again, and I cannot tell you how irritating I find it. 4. No, let's do 3 3/4. So this is really quite small. So it is teeny weeny weeny. Doesn't look straight. Mounties. Okay. Right, I'm going to keep that piece, and I'm going to use that for my sentiment. And because we've already got this, I'm going to use, we've done breathe, I think wishing you so much happiness, which again is going to be one I haven't mounted up. Happy day. Right, wishing you so much happiness. So I'm going to find a block that will fit. That one will fit. So what I actually need to do is that and that. So this is the other way of doing it. So this is what Brenton does, which he says he finds much easier, which is absolutely fine. There is no right or wrong way. So what you do is you get your sentiment and your stamp, and you effectively stamp onto your stamp, and that mounts it up, and then you just peel it off, and there it is, all nicely mounted. So you may find that easier, but that is the other way of doing it. So we're going to have wishing you so much happiness, and we're going to wish that happiness in soft suede again, purely because there's an awful lot of green going on here, and I think we could do with some more of the neutral. And then this is all going to go onto the balmy blue paper, onto a Misty Moonlight card base. Actually, I'm going to go into the middle because I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with this. Don't you love the little cutter? I do. I wish they were still doing them. Hello, Joanne. Good grief. That is cold. So there's our little sentiment. I'm going to chop that down, which I'm actually going to use the large cutter for because I find it does a more successful cut when it's little. And I was going to want 1/2 inch. It's slightly bigger than 1/2 inch. So let's see if I can get it down enough that I can do a 1/2 inch. Now, there's another thing that I spotted recently. If you press too hard with your trimmer blade, you're going to get a fuzzy edge. Just saying. Can't remember who told me that. I think it was Dina Rico. Whereas if you don't press very hard, you get a nice clean cut. So this edge I pressed hard. Can we all see fuzziness? Whereas this edge I didn't, and we've got a nice clean cut. So just bear that in mind. If you cut hard, you're going to get fuzziness, and if you don't cut hard, you're not going to get fuzziness. Right, so that means I can use always going to be the last one I find, one of my tag things. So that's going to be two. Ooh, do I want a no, I want a flag. It's not quite ½ an inch, but I'm going to make it work. I am going to make it work. I find actually that it's easier to come and look at what's going on from the back. That's good. And then chop out there and come in again from the back. And move that into position. Roughly, that's right, move it at the last moment. There we go. It's not quite square, but it's good enough. So that's going to go on probably down here. Actually may overlap a little. So, Misty Moonlight. Keep forgetting I have that trimmer. By not going so heavy-handed. Good, Pam. Glad to hear it. So, this is my front. Grab my paper. So we're going for the blue, which I only have one piece left in this pack. Yeah, that's not going to look nice. The reason for that is that it's one of the papers that I've used for this month's, or the December, card kits, customer card kits. So I'm going to use this side because it's softer. I quite like that. Ooh. And I quite like the idea of a mat around the side, but that's going to be too small. Right, I'm going to trim this down a tiny weeny teeny bit. Because I want this on a mat. So I can now cut using this. So this is 3 inches, so that's 3 3/4 by 2 7/8. Yep. So 3 3/4 plus 1/8 is 3 7/8. So that is going to be my mat for that. And then there's a nice gap, frame, that's the word I'm looking for, because otherwise it was just sinking in. Now I know why I get fuzzy edges. Well, there you are. Yeah, it could be that your blades need changing, but it's always worth trying a soft touch first, or a light touch first. So I don't know why I put my trimmer away, because I need to cut this. So this is going to be 3 7/8. 3 7/8 by 5 5/8. With 6x6 paper, I always make the short cut first because you get a bigger leftover piece. Now I want the darker bit. Right, so I'm going to add this to my card with, where's my seal gone? Oh, can't see it for looking. It's here. So yes, I was saying I didn't like this paper when I first got it. I thought it was too loud, because this side is quite loud, but when you layer it or use a smaller piece, it's beautiful, in my humble opinion. Now this, I'm going to add the glue to my mat because the edge, the margin around the edge is very narrow. So I like, when I'm doing really narrow edges, to put the adhesive onto what I'm sticking to rather than what I'm sticking, because then I'm holding something that isn't sticky. And I find that is much easier to manipulate. This is going to go on to dimensionals. And I know I've still got my sentiment to think about. Probably don't need all of these dimensionals, but hey. Come on. Yep. These come off really easily so long as you push them down properly in the first place. Otter swimming, absolutely. The small strip you cut off your layer could be a nice added to the inside of the card. Absolutely. Particularly by doing the long cut first, so that you've actually got the full width. Ooh. Oh, well, shortcut is actually really what I mean. So this I'm going to have towards the top, so that this is all basically the same measurement, and then I can have my little sentiment down here offset. You will hear me saying this often. If you're going to have something offset, make sure it is really offset as opposed to just not quite in the middle. The better, the more dramatic the offset, the more your brain is going to like it. So I'm going to have a dramatic offset, and I am going to have those little edges coming off the edge of the card like that. And I am going to use some more linen thread, not least of all because I've got this little piece here that's annoying me. And I might be able to tie a bow with this. I might not be able to, however. It might be just too small, but should we give it a go on live YouTube? No, it's going to be too small. My hands are fidgeting too much. So let's use this. And actually using that nice thick piece that we didn't really like in the first place will be quite useful, because that can be an exaggerated knot. Scissors. And then that I'm going to just pop in just there, I think. And then, yes. Right, so now I've shown you this trick before, I am sure. If you want the ends of your twine to be in a specific place, your friend is multi-purpose liquid glue. Just pop a little splodge, and I just don't want the glue dot exposed. You can pop a little splodge of multi-purpose liquid glue and stick the end, or just in from the end, onto it, put a block over it while it's sitting, and it will very happily stay in place. So there we are. Those are our Oceanfront cards for today. So we've got one that's ocean and pink, and one that's not ocean and blue. But some ideas courtesy of Michelle Taylor in Australia of what to do with your Oceanfront stamp set. It does, I think, let's find them in the bundles. And you can do some really lovely scenes with those horizon dies. So these ones here, which are on page 43 of your new song sheet. If you're in the UK, do remember that if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and would like to order through me, you can ask me for a catalogue and I will happily send one to you. There's a form on my website under the catalogues page. So yes, this paper for Europe is looking like it's not going to be in stock now until February. So I will get my paper shares out without it to begin with, and then we'll send it through when I have got it in stock. Thank you, Brenton. Thank you, Nora. Thank you, Jess. Brenton is now going to grab the stamp set. Good. I feel some ordering coming on. Happy to inspire, Lorna. Thank you, Sally. So I'm going to flip the camera up. Just a reminder to give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. I know a lot of you have, because there's lots of thumbs up already, which is fan-dabby-dozy. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you're watching on replay, again, thumbs up is always nice. If you've got any questions and you're asking it on your on replay, do leave those below the description bar and I will get back to you. I love this stamp set. It's just so me. So yes, thank you very much indeed for joining me for my 2 cards this morning. I will try and get these photoed and onto my website later today. And then I will link the blog post in the description bar against associated blog post. Your customer order has just arrived. Your customer thank you box has just arrived. Yay, that was quick. I sent it second class. Woohoo! It's arrived. So your card, how to make up the card kits, is on my YouTube channel and on my website. So have fun with those. Thank you very much indeed for watching me. I shall pop up my closing screen and look forward to seeing some of you on Thursday, 3 o'clock UK time. That's in the afternoon, obviously, for more fun. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. Bye.